Hello.
Welcome to Salem, the podcast.
We are your hosts and favorite Salem tour guides.
My name is Jeffrey Lilley.
And I am Sarah Black.
Today, this is our inaugural episode, our first premiere.
Yay!
Out of the gate. This is it, number one.
Very excited.
Hope you are too. You may be asking yourself, how did I get here?
Maybe you love Salem. Maybe you've visited Salem.
It's on your bucket list.
Maybe you love Hocus Pocus.
Or Bewitched. Or maybe you are a witch. Maybe you like Halloween.
Maybe you live here, like us.
Yeah, we live here.
Maybe you love history.
Yes, history buff, history nerds, spooky nerds, witchy nerds, all the people.
We're trying to get you all into this little club of ours.
We will collect you all. But you like Salem just like we like Salem.
And just to clarify, we are actually recording this from Salem, Massachusetts.
We are right in the thick of it.
The Witch City.
Officially. Not the other Salems, which are cool, I'm sure. Salem, New Hampshire, and Salem, Oregon, and Winston-Salem, North Carolina. You guys are great. But we are the OG, Salem, Massachusetts.
I actually had a poor couple come on one of my tours this past year, and they had this story to tell me as soon as they signed in. They said, so this is our second time trying to do this tour. First time, we were over in Salem, Oregon. They had booked a flight. They thought they were coming here. They landed on the West Coast, got out of the airport, and was like, where are all the witches? Those poor people. But they eventually made it. They got there.
Okay.
And we had a great time.
I've had some confusion as well. I had, I think it was like a group of 7 or like 14 or something. It was like a larger number. Mm-hmm. All book. And then I get a phone call like the next day. And they're like, hi, you guys located in Salem, Oregon? I was like, nope, Salem, Massachusetts. And they're like, oh, can we go ahead and cancel that? Like, well, there goes 14 people off the tour. Sure. And I guess so they were in the right place doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. Your guys were in the wrong place
and ended up turning their vacation.
I hope they had a good time in Salem, Oregon.
I hope so too. Yeah. I mean, there's got to be fun things to do there.
It
just might be a little cloudier.
Yeah.
It's very wet over there.
I think the last remaining Blockbuster in the world is near there. It's in Bend, I believe, which I think is near Salem. I could be wrong. One of my best friends lives out there, so it can't be that bad.
No.
But we are coming from you, like we said, from the Witch City.
And we are also tour guides in said city.
Yes, that's our profession, livelihood.
Yeah, and kind of what gives us this unique perspective and why we wanted to start the podcast in the first place.
Right.
And we also live right in downtown area as well. So
not only do we talk about all this stuff, we get to see all the stuff.
The traffic.
That's the foot and the vehicular? No. Both all the people walking around and all the cars that clog the streets trying to find parking.
Bumper to bumper, foot to foot.
If you've been here, you totally in October, you know what we're on about. But this episode, we're just going to cover sort of a quick overview of what to expect, some of our content, schedule, a little bit about us, which then begs the question, we know how you got here. How did we get here?
So Salem, the podcast, came about during this past year's tour season. Coming out of COVID, we were back in action on the streets, giving tours on a day.
Full size
tours. And when we say full size, it's roughly about 50 people.
Yeah. And you guys were coming back. So that's another thing is like
huge influx of folks coming to Salem.
Salem was weird. Salem was weird in 2020. 2021, we really sort of got back into it. The city was as busy as it's ever
been.
Yeah.
Busier than it's ever been. And I believe that you and I became friends in 2020 or 2021. We're both tour guides. We see each other on the streets. We wave hi, exchange pleasantries.
Yeah, it's like coworker. I mean, we don't work.
We have a very solitary job.
Yeah. So when you see the other people who are doing the same solitary job as you, you're like, hi, friend.
Yeah. And we can,
Yeah.
we can exchange stories, we can hang out, we can chat about crazy tourists and whatnot.
That's all you people.
And that's kind of where it started. Jeffrey and I connected and we started grabbing a drink after a tour. We would just kind of do some shop talk. And then I also have my tour participants to thank for it. I did have quite a few ask at the end of tours, do you have a podcast? Some even asked, do you have a book? That's not happening, not right now. But
no, that's future Sarah's problem?
That's shelved,
okay,
no pun intended.
Memoirs of Sarah Black?
Perhaps, maybe.
A Salem tour guide?
Wouldn't that be fun? Trials and Tribulations of a Salem tour guide. That's probably what it would be called. But Jeff and I have such a great rapport, and we love to just chat about Salem, chat about history. We're passionate about this city.
And I think one of the best things is we don't always agree.
No.
I remember, it's been over the summer, we were having like a disagreement. And I was like, this is great because it's like an actual sort of educational, historic opinion. It's like, well, I read this article and therefore this. She's like, well, I don't agree with that. I think it was more likely. And I was like, this is.
And we weren't afraid to call each other out.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, this is cool. And I'm sure all of you go for a drink with your coworker, whoever it is, and you talk about work, your boss, the people you had to interact, customer experiences. And our job is weird in that there's this aspect of Salem that we do.
So fast forward to one warm evening in September. We are sitting outside of All Souls Lounge, one of our favorites here in town.
And we're chatting away, and what do you say?
I said, do you want to start a podcast? And what did you say?
Yes.
With like the most excited, I think your face in that moment will be ingrained in my brain for a very long time, if not forever.
I am both sorry and not sorry.
You had a slightly wild and very excited look in your eyes, but like pure 100% all in instantaneously.
Yeah. It's one of those things like, oh, you talk about it, but you like threw down the gauntlet. It's like, I'm not going to back. Yeah, no.
Neither of us have done this before.
No.
Neither of us really knew what we were doing, but we knew we love Salem, and we knew that we can't really fit everything we want to talk about Salem into our tours. So why not bring a bit more to you guys?
I love giving tours. I love getting that face-to-face and talking to people and answering the questions and all the history and all this stuff. But each stop, 15 minutes max.
Tops, yeah.
But the stories of those places could go on for hours.
And it's not like we get to go into any of these places either. We do walking tours outside. We get to pass by all these cool places, restaurants, activities, and we get to point them out to you. But we don't get to talk to the owners. We don't get to sit down with the curators of those museums
or the street performers.
Yep.
Or get sort of an in-depth view. You can go and see these people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've been into some of the museums or some of the historic locations, but not everyone gets a chance to. Not everyone even knows that some of these places are there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's pull back the curtain, I guess might be the best term. I tend to tell this in my tours that we're giving a real surface explanation.
Mm-hmm.
So this gives us an opportunity to bring to you so much more.
All the things that we don't get a chance to talk about. And also some of the more like fun, risque things as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
we are going to have a little bit of fun with this. So it's kind of like a little side project hobby.
So let's talk episodes. We've got a fun little structure for you guys. Because Salem is so multifaceted, we're going to give you a different facet in like a different week.
Yep. So we got 4 different types of episodes. First and foremost, of course, the Salem witch trials. It's what put us on the map. It's why most people come to visit.
Well, we are the witch city.
We are known for.
Yeah.
Although that story is a relatively short period of time, we could talk about it forever. We're actually going to be kicking off our second episode with an introduction to those trials. And then we're going to dive deeper into characters from the trials, more detailed incidences.
Some of the specific people, some of the specific narratives, some of the specific histories, different concepts, debunking theories, all these things that would give you a much deeper exploration of that topic.
And then we're going to be diving into Salem history.
Right.
So things that are outside of those witch trials.
Because the trials are important.
But like we said, such a small period of time.
In 13 months.
Right.
But Salem's been here for, well,
almost.
Let's be honest, that the city of Salem's been in here for almost 400 years, but the land itself and the people who lived here before that, far, far older than that.
Indeed.
There's incredible rich amount of history from pre-colonization up till today. Things like shipping. If you've taken any history tour in Salem, you know about our shipping history. Some things you might not know about, like the Salem Willows, maybe some interesting people.
Our involvement in the Revolutionary War, the War of 1812, Harry Houdini.
That's one of my favorite topics.
The Great Fire of 1914.
Whole third of the city burns to the ground. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about all these other things that make Salem what it is today. And speaking of the things that we know today, there's a lot of other things that we feel like we need to cover. And one of the most important is bringing some of the characters. People of Salem to you.
Right. So we're going to be sitting down with those shop owners that brought their business to Salem. We're going to be sitting down with those street performers that you know and love. If you've been to Salem, you see them there every single year, especially in October.
And who they are, who their character is, what brings inspiration to them, why they do what they do. Let's just take a store, for example. Like any of the fantastic stores downtown on Essex Street, someone owns that. Someone curates that. Someone brings that experience to you. So let's talk to them. What brings them to Salem? What are their dreams? What is their story they're telling you? We know that there's a lot of things that you love about Salem. So let's talk to the people
who make it what it is.
And then we've got this whole other sort of cachet of episodes. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't fit nicely into one of these categories. So that's our fourth category. We got, let's see.
Just like some extra content.
Yeah.
We're hoping, fingers crossed, to bring this to the streets in October and possibly chat with folks.
Some live, well, not live, but, on the street Q&A. We'll be reviewing the new Hocus Pocus movie when it comes out in September.
Very excited for that.
Yep.
We're going to be playing a board game
called Affliction,
based on the Salem witch trials that we picked up at the Peabody Essex Museum. Looking forward to that. Hopefully we can wrangle some other tour guides to join in.
We're going to have to get 2 other people to play with us, so that should be a good time. But just all these different things.
So Salem witch trial history, Salem other history, interviews with folks, and all the extras. It's kind of a brief outline of what kind of episodes you can expect.
This can be nice, this sort of weekly discussion about the infamous witch city, the city that we know that you love and that we love.
We love it so much we can't stop talking about it.
Looking forward to all of that. Hope you are as well. But all of these episodes are going to be dropping on Tuesdays.
And every week.
Every week. And that's going to, we'll be reliable. We'll be here for you every Tuesday. You can come and check out what Salem has to offer.
And we're thinking they'll probably clock in around 45 minutes to an hour, give or take.
That's a good commute for those of you who are still commuting. Good gym time, good morning walk, all those good stuffs. Good little time frame.
So as we said, we are local to the city, tour guides in town. Tell me, Jeff, and tell our listeners, what brought you to Salem? How long you been here?
I've been here for about 3.5 years, maybe 4.5. Hold on. I don't know. Time has no meaning anymore. I can't count, and time has no meaning. So
I feel like the last 2 years are just a blur.
I don't know. So I think it's about 4.5 years. Now, I was brought to Salem. So my 2 good friends of mine, many good friends now live here, but 2 very good friends of mine live here. They own a store downtown, and they were like, you'd love Salem. You should move to Salem. This would be great. So I was like, okay. And I'm from Massachusetts, so I was living here. I'd gone to university in England. I'd moved home, quote unquote, and was looking to get out of there. and decided to settle on Salem. And one of the reasons that I like Salem, and it's not just the witchy history stuff, which I like, but I went to university in Bath, England, and many cities in England have this sort of small city culture. And this sort of, you live, work right there, house is there. You just get a quick bus ride to and from where you're going. You can walk downtown. There's shops, there's studios, there's coffee shops. That's where the theaters are, the historical interests. And it's all within like a couple miles.
That's Salem.
That's Salem.
So similar.
And I never liked cities. I was like, I don't like Boston. I don't like New York, these big, sprawling metropolitan. But these sort of small cities, I really fell in love with. And Salem is just like that.
Yeah.
And it has that sort of feel. So I felt sort of very at home in Salem. I've maybe a 18-minute walk to work. I live right by the water in a gorgeous park. And it's just like, this is it. This is the life. I found it.
Aw. That's like touching my heart because Salem feels like home to me too.
How long have you been
here? It's like the first place that really feels like home. I've been coming here since 2010. My father moved here from Michigan, so I am a Michigander born and raised, and I'm just going to preface all the other episodes and apologize because I think my twang kind of comes out in some of these. I was once told that it sounds like a perfect combination of a Canadian and Southerner.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so apologies if things come out. Hey, I'm surprised you actually still have all your R's after living in Massachusetts for so long.
No. I'm actually Canadian, so I gotta stick to my roots.
That's true. That's true. No A's? Can we throw some A's in on the podcast?
No. Oh, that's maybe.
Anyways, so father moves out here in 2010. And it's been kind of like a second home to me ever since. And then I made it my permanent home in 2016, summer of 2016. So we're going on like 5.5 years. And I just love it. Came out here for grad school in Boston. Ooh. Did not plan to stay in Salem. Did not plan on becoming a Salem tour guide. But things kind of just fell into place.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the first place that feels like home. I, like you, love being able to walk out my door. I've got a 10-minute walk to work. I walk by building after building from the 16, 17, 1800s. I get to see these incredible landmarks that are on people's bucket lists every single day. It is just a magical place.
Very fortunate.
And not just because of the actual witches that live here.
Yeah.
now.
So why, you said you weren't planning on becoming a tour guide?
No, I made it through 2 degrees in history without ever giving a tour. I was more of a behind the scenes kind of gal.
Okay.
I did like exhibit work, research, writing. I definitely gravitated towards public speaking, but I did not plan on making it a job or a career. Yeah. And my first gig was working for a ghost tour company in town. And it took me a little bit to get my footing, but I fell right in and loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I can't really imagine doing anything else at this point.
I
what about
that. You? You know what? Same thing. I was at my friend's shop, and they knew someone who owned a tour company, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to work for me?" And I was like, "Sure." Did that for a few years, then branched out on my own. But that wasn't like the first time I'd given tours, which is why I was like, "Yeah, I can do this."
It's not an easy job. Like it's kind of scary.
I'm sort of known for being a little loud. Everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And especially when I was,
I can hear him from 2 streets away.
Thank you. When I was in England, they're like, "You're like so American." Like I can hear you. I remember one time I was sitting in like the common area of our university, and I get a text message from my friend, like 2 floors up and down the hall. I guess the door to their lecture room was open. She's like, "You need to be quiet." I'm like, I'm sitting downstairs 2 stories having a coffee.
Your voice travels.
But I have given ghost tours in Key West, Florida.
Ooh.
I've worked for historical tours of America in Boston as well. I also gave history tours and city tours when I was living in Bath in England. I worked for the International Society, worked as like a cultural liaison giving tours there as well. And then I was just like, okay, cool, Salem, yay.
Yeah, why not?
Right? And I've always been a little weird. If my mother's listening, she's like, yeah, definitely.
A little bit.
But then, so two things that I was good at, which was being a little weird and talking.
Being a little loud.
Being a little loud. Like, here you go. This is the perfect job for you. And I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty good. I can do this.
I tell you, it's a straight like serotonin boost.
Right?
Even if it's a bad tour, I mean, I take that back. If I have a rough tour, coming off of it can be a little draining.
I get a text message. We going for drinks?
Yeah, I need one. But walking up to the group, there's always a little bit of nervousness and like butterflies in the stomach, but there's almost an instant boost of serotonin, and I'm just happy to be there, happy to be interacting with people. It's like having a bunch of best friends for 2 hours.
And one of the things that I like about this, and it's something that I find the best friends, when you get to share with other people the things that you like.
Yeah.
That's like a quality of a good relationship, right? If you're like, I'm passionate about this, and someone's like, tell me about, if someone's listening to you and like paying attention to what you're saying, like that's it. And they're like, now, yeah, we get paid, cool. But it's like, I get to tell you all the things that interest me. And I know the fun places, the good stories, the interesting stuff. And I want to share Salem's history with everyone who comes and takes one of my tours.
Yep.
And now with all of you who are going to be listening to our podcast.
Yeah, come take our tours. If you're coming in October, make sure you book like 6 months in advance.
Yeah, last year. If you're listening to this now,
book last year.
Yeah, book for next year. It's okay. Salem will still be here. We're coming up on our 400th anniversary, so it's just going to get more popular and more busy.
Looking forward to some big numbers this year and hopefully be seeing a few of you.
Absolutely. Should be a good time. Well, I think that's about all we got for the intro episode for our first kickoff.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Look forward to bringing you all this wonderful Salem content. In fact, the next episode is going to be a background on the Salem witch trials.
So be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and tell a few friends.
And don't forget to follow us on all the socials. That is at Salem the Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
And any questions, feel free to email hello@salemthepodcast.com.
And if you're visiting Salem and want to take a tour, the links to both of our tour companies are in the show notes. Thanks for listening.
See you later.